Hi, it's Eli. We got a lot of questions after the last video, so thank you all for asking. The first question is, how did I come to be the host? This was in the end of 2021. Katie wasn't out a whole lot because she was really stressed, and so I started coming out a lot, mainly because in school we had this project and I was the one responsible for it. So I was coming out a lot because I was really focused on that. And then once the project was over, I guess I just stayed around. And life was really stressful at the time for Katie and for all of us. I don't want to go into details about that. And Katie realized a lot of things about herself, including that she never really wanted to be the host. She just kind of got thrown into that position. And, never questioned it because it was what she was supposed to do. She asked me to be the host officially, and I said, as long as I can cut my hair. And she said, okay, fine. But she made me compromise that it couldn't be like, it was not this short at first. It was like maybe down to here. It was kind of like a boyish looking haircut because Katie was still around at that point, and she was very attached to her hair, but I was very happy with it at the time because it was just as short as my hair had ever been. And I had some prior experience to hosting because back in 2014 to 2015, before Katie knew she had DID and before I really knew what to call it, I was a co-host. So after all of that happened, I started hosting. I cut my hair the next year, the beginning of 2022. That's how I became host. I didn't know how long it was gonna last. It's been a little over 2 years. The next question is, how and why did Katie fuse? So as I said, Katie was realizing a lot of things about herself at that time, and it was a really hard time for all of us. Katie actually ended up splitting. And splitting until there was no Katie anymore. It was just these fragments of her, these parts. And all of them ended up fusing eventually after some months, I think. So I have part of Katie now. Catherine holds part of her, and 3 others hold parts of her too. So I don't have all of her memories, but I have a lot of them. The rest of her memories are spread between those people who have parts of her. Is Katie just gone now? Well, no, there is no Katie in our system anymore, but she isn't gone in the sense that all of her memories are still here. Her characteristics are still here, just spread out now between 5 people and mixed in with a lot of other characteristics that she never had before. How does my mom feel about Katie fusing? It was an adjustment for sure at first, but I think she's doing pretty well with it now. She's enjoying getting to know us, mostly me, for who we are now, and I think she still sees Katie in a lot of us, so it's not been like the end of the world or anything. The next one says, tell us more about yourself. So, tell you more about me. I like music. Well, I love music. I listen to it all the time. Would not be able to survive without it, honestly. I think a lot of people feel that way, though. I particularly like rock music, but I listen to a lot of different stuff. Other than that, I like climbing in the inner world. I haven't had much chance to out here, but when I have, I've really enjoyed it. In the inner world, I can play guitar. In the outer world, I play piano. And I enjoy singing, though I'm not really the best at it. Through a series of fusions, Catherine is now my twin sister. We're very often co-conscious with each other. She's watching me right now. Hi, Catherine. Say hi to Catherine. I like going on walks. I like watching YouTube. A lot of that can be said for most people in our system. I enjoy writing. I enjoy drawing. I have a connection with Franklin because we both went to group therapy together in the outer world, and we were co-fronting a lot. I met him there for the first time, kind of through his drawings and my drawings. That's how we communicated for a while, because he's in the pit and I'm not. When I go out and interact with people, do they still think that I'm Katie? No. All of my friends know me as Eli. Most of them only ever knew me as Eli, and I like it that way. Although I have some friends who have been with me since Katie was hosting, and they've been really supportive and awesome and stuck by me, and I really appreciate that, and them getting to know me and, you know, being my friend now. All my teachers know me as Eli. All the people from my class knew me as Eli. Doctors know me by my new name. Nobody calls me Katie except for people who are disrespecting me on purpose. So what does the inner world look like now? The inner world has changed a lot with all of the changes in the system. So I'll put up a picture here. Yeah, there's 3 parts. The mainland, which includes Otherworld, Ikaria, the forest, and Dream World. I think that's it. And then there's the home space, and then there's the pit. The mainland is where most people in the system live or aspire to live eventually. The home space is more for certain gatekeepers or people with very specific jobs, and people who are temporarily staying there while they find a home. And then the pit is for people who have unprocessed trauma that needs to be kept away from the mainland so that they don't have to deal with it or find out about it. So the pit, it in a lot of ways reminds us of our trauma. So I don't want to explain what it looks like. It would just be revealing a lot about my psyche that I don't really feel comfortable sharing with the public. I live in Otherworld in a town called Ryland. Otherworld is essentially like the outer world, but just a little bit different. Ryland is based on where I grew up, but a more idealistic version of it. Which side of the internet do you find yourself a little bit obsessed with? Well, that's a good question. I would say Good Mythical Morning. This is a Good Mythical Morning shirt right now. I like listening to their podcast. I watch their show. I watch the after show. I watch like everything from them. Definitely Good Mythical Morning. What are my plans for the future now that I finished school? So that's a good question. The next steps are taking a test that would give me a certification to interpret. I would look for an agency to interpret with, and I would start working through there and doing jobs, community jobs mostly. I would also take on some performance like theater, that type of thing. And so yeah, I'm also working on getting my driver's license, which has been a thing for forever that we've been trying to do, but it just keeps getting put on the back burner. I mean, I've accomplished a lot of things that we had put on the back burner, so I'm really hoping that now that we're done with school, I'll be able to focus more on driving, and that will be tremendously helpful once we get a job in the interpreting field. Next question, how are Katie's kids doing now that she fused? Katie's kids are doing well. Some of them have also fused. They are now with Balix, who is someone who has another of those parts of Katie. They still feel like they have their mom, even though Balix is a totally different person. They still have part of Katie, and they still have that part that remembers all the time that Katie spent taking care of her kids, and Balix now has that bond with the kids that the rest of us who got parts of Katie didn't get. The next question is, who else is fused? A lot of people have fused. So I'll just try and think of people who were on the channel before. Eden is a fusion of Evie and someone else. Annie has fused. and is now Ollie. And Ollie also has part of Katie. Jesselyn fused and is now Jessie. Laura fused and is now Savannah. Liz fused, but she still goes by Liz. Honey fused, but he still goes by Honey, but he's a boy now. Vienna fused, and now she goes by Clover. So Damsel fused, and now goes by Raina. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but that's everyone I could think of who's been on the channel who fused. We've had a lot of other people who haven't been on the channel who have also fused, so I hope I did good with that one. And the final question is, what is my relationship like with Hong? Hong and I are dating. We've been dating for almost 2 years. So my relationship with him is good. We are also really good friends. So it's more than just romantic. And yeah, he's very helpful for everyone in the system. We're still doing great with him. I'm doing great with him. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for asking so many great questions. And I will see you next time. Bye.